Today we are working on splicing an underground wire for a well. So this is UF wire. You can see this is what we call 12-3. It's got 3 conductors. What do we got? 1, 2, 3 plus the ground. UF is you have this rubberized coating all over the wires. So the wires still have their normal sheathing on them, colored sheathing, either black, red, and white, and the ground. But then it also has this rubberized coating, which makes it direct burial. So this stuff is a bitch to open. But what I did here was I just made a slit going down the thing like that. And hopefully I can kind of pull them out. The problem with the slit method is you don't want to get too crazy with it, or you can wreck the underlying wire. So we'll just see if I can get it apart here. See how that goes. Maybe, maybe not. There's number 2. Number 2 conductor. Number 3 conductor. And don't forget about the ground, which looks like was not cut through enough. There we go. We got him out. Once you get it going, you can rip it. I can't really show that on the screen right now because I need more space. So we'll just do the same thing. We'll just run a channel down there like that. And now we've got them, and they're all at approximately the same length, which is great. Now we're gonna cut this chunk of crap off of here, and I'm actually gonna cut these wires back, but I don't have to do that yet. We are going to be using an underground splice kit. Basically, you have a heat shrink tubing, and then you have this thing with different barrels. There's 4 barrels for each wire. And we just screw these down on the wires. So we're gonna clip them. I like to get them pretty close to where the sheathing is. I'll probably cut them right about here. It gives you enough room to kind of make an angle to get into the barrel, but not enough to get, we wanna make sure that our outer jacket is still well within our heat shrink tubing. So anyway, we're gonna cut it somewhere like so. With these splice kits, you don't want to lose the screws, so I always look in the barrels and just make sure I want it unscrewed just enough that I don't see the screw anymore, but not enough to pop the screw out, because there's nothing worse than having only one splice kit with the appropriate number of screws and then losing one. Which is why we carry 3 splice kits on the truck, because today we need 2, and we got an oopsie with us. So, okay. So I've got the 4 screws undone on the one side. We just want the wire to go halfway in. There's not a stop in there, so you just have to kind of eyeball that. But that's the deal. So now we're going to take this. We'll kind of strip. Now, not every well system is 3-wire. The pumps that we are currently putting in are actually 2-wire pumps. We've been pretty happy with those. But most of the existing wells around here are 4-wire. The reason it's 4-wire is because you have the ground, the 2 hots, and then capacitor wire start winding, or whatever you want to call it, going down to the pump. Oh, there you go. I just lost one of them damn screws. It's also nice doing it up here. When we attach the other side, we're going to be in the trench, and that's where you get real cautious. So here we go. We're just going to try to stick all these wires in here like so. And I will just start tightening them. I'm sure there's a torque spec. Today we are doing reasonably tight one-handed. You can strip these out. I've stripped enough of them out that I kind of know where the sweet spot is. So just be cautious of that. You can see that wire inside the barrel there. Plenty of contact. Hopefully we can get that screw back in there happily. There we go. Okay, so we've got that. Now, one thing I do like to tell apprentices and stuff is when you're playing with these, it's easy to twist the wire, and the problem is then it reorients your screws. So if I'm in the hole and I twist the wire, which I won't be able to demonstrate now, but the barrels actually start twisting inside this housing, and then you can't get to the screws. So try not to twist the wire too much. Okay, so now we're going to slide our heat shrink tubing on. Always make sure you have that on before you attach the other side. For this particular job, we are making a loop. There's going to be 2 of them, 1 on each side. So now I'm going to start prepping the other side, and then we'll go down in the hole. You can see right here on the neutral side, I did cut into the sheathing a little bit. So I'm going to come farther back so I can get a fresh piece of sheathing there, because I don't want that. Not that it's going to have problems, but I just don't want problems. Okay, we are now in our trench. Here's our 2 wires. So they were digging here. They're doing some sort of a waterproofing. It actually looks like a... Boy, I got this moth that's bugging the hell out of me. It looks like a wood foundation, which I don't see around here too often, but that's the vibe I'm getting on that. So, whatever. Anyways, I do know that some of those are around. I did talk to a guy that put them in one time, and he said that the life expectancy of them is like between 50 and 75 years. And you can see some of this damage might be done by the actual excavator, though. They're trying to waterproof this or something, which really, they should just cut that chunk out and put cement. But, all right, so here's our 2 wires. I'll check to make sure they're not hot, but this one's coming from the house, and then it goes to the wellhead, which is somewhere out there. The reason that we can't just connect the 2 together again is because more often than not, when they rip that thing out with the excavator, like, see, this wire is longer, so that was farther down in there. So really, we're going to have to come to here, probably get some fresh wire. We'll have to come back to here and get some fresh wire, and then we'll have our splice in between. So I'll try to get a good picture of that. The lighting's not great, and I'm using an iPhone, but we'll see. Step number 1. Are we dead? Chicken Stick says we are dead, which is nice. Shut that off. All right, so this is UF as well. This is the old version. I told you guys about kind of tearing it, so I'll sort of demonstrate that right now. Basically, I just grab the wires and pull. You can see that sheathing is much less pliable now than the sheathing that I was working with before. So I don't know if I need to, I think I need to reorient you there. There we go. All right. But whatever, you know, it is what it is. They're not going to want to run a whole new wire to the well, so we just work with what we got. There's that. There again, we're just going to find a nice spot to do that. I don't love that copper is tainted, so I'll just take the same, kind of scratch that a little bit, make it a good contact. There we go. Sometimes you can lightly use a smaller gauge to scratch that off too. You don't want to score it, but it's okay to just use it to get a little traction on the wire and scrape it off. The problem with scoring it, meaning that you clamp down on it accidentally with the smaller size, is they just snap off randomly. Like just any little movement, we see it a lot with apprentices on new houses. They'll accidentally score it, and then when they're pushing the wires back in the box, the wire just kind of snaps right there. You can also sort of change the angle. There we go. I'm happy with that. All right, so got our splice kit that I threw in the dirt, but it still looks fine. We're just gonna kind of orient our wires in roughly the same way here. We want the colors to match up. It doesn't necessarily matter what the color is, it just, we want to stay the same with everything. So the white goes to white, goes to white, and so on. Same deal, we're going to pop the screws out. I'm going to be a little bit more careful with that this time. I don't want to lose a screw. Here you can see how that barrel has moved on me there a little bit because I'm trying to twist it clockwise. Okay. And now we just put the wires in. Maybe, there we go. I was just a little tight on that one. Got her loosened up. Same with that one. Now we're wiggling right in there. Red's happy, so I'm going to tighten that down. Be done with that one. Okay. I think I'm happy with my ground. White's there now. And I think all we got is black. All right, I feel good about that. Now we're going to take our splice heat shrink. Got that one all freaking dirty. Take the splice heat shrink. When you're doing these heat shrinks, we want to find the center. We want to be in the center with it. Well, first kind of get all the crap off your wire there, but find center. We're going to work from center out with the torch. So you'll see that here. I'm just trying to get it to clamp down initially. Torched it a little bit there. See, I'm not perfect center, but that'll work. All right, now when we do these, so we start in the center and then we work our way out. We don't want to start on the outside and work in, because then we'll have some sort of an air pocket there. When you do it right, there's a bit of schmutz that comes out of there too. You can see this gel stuff. That's what it lines the inside of that, and that seals it up. It's not just clamping, it's actually got some stuff in it to seal it. Same deal here. We can see this little bit of gel that came out of there. So overall pretty good. I torched it a little bit here, but it's fine. No big deal. Now we get to do the other side, which I thoroughly caked in crap. And we get to do that wire. In general, we warranty these repairs basically for the life of the system. You know, this is, they're pretty rock solid for the most part. So I know they seem kind of rudimentary, but They do a good job. So we're going to do the same kind of deal, I think. We'll see if we can clamp onto this and pull some wires back and maybe get back about 6-8 inches here. And then we will begin round 2. I guess that was a little more than 6, but... Okay. All right, I'm happy with the wire prep. Do the same thing. We'll see if we can try not to twist it a ton. Okay. Same kind of deal. We're going to try to orient our wires in the appropriate pattern here so that we're kind of in line when we do this. There's farting around. You know, when I taught Matt, our most recent guy, it's a patience game. Ooh, 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 ooh. Almost forgot. Critical item. Put that down there. Get her cleaned up. All right. Here we go. Torch time. Same kind of deal. Try to find center there, roughly right there. I like it. I like it a lot. Round 2. Okay. All right, that's that. Now they got a little slack to play with too. We leave the remaining wire trash in the hole like a proper electrician. And there you have it, there's your repair. So there's the water line there. Ouch, that's still hot.